Alright everyone, welcome to lecture number 2 in our nutrition series. Today we are tackling one of the most controversial topics in nutrition, carbohydrates. They're essential or they're harmful. Depending on who you ask, they're either the foundation of energy or a driver of metabolic disease. The truth, obviously, sits in physiology, not in opinion. So what are carbs? They're one of the three primary macronutrients. You get every carb is made of glucose molecules, which is your primary energy source. Now in nature exists as simple carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates, and fibers. Simple carbs are your simple sugars like glucose, dextrose, fructose, and then your complex carbs are your starches such as finely potatoes, breads, those sort of things. And fiber is non-digestible. Once consumed, all your digestible fibers are broken down into their basic sugars, which in turn are broken down into glucose. They then enter the bloodstream, and that is where regulation begins. So glucose is not the enemy. Glucose is the preferred fuel source for your brain, your red blood cells, and for any high-intensity activity that you do. And your body likes to maintain glucose in a tight range. If you too much glucose, you get long-term damage to your cells. And if you get too low glucose, you can get impaired function. So, the main controller of this is insulin. Insulin allows glucose to enter your cells. After a carbohydrate-rich meal, blood glucose rises, insulin is released, and glucose is either used or stored. The problem is chronic high intake of refined carbs can lead to insulin resistance. This is when your cells stop responding effectively to the insulin. This leads to the body's secretion of more insulin, which can lead to fat accumulation and metabolic dysfunction. Not all carbohydrates are created equal. You get the whole and slash unprocessed carbs like vegetables, fruits, whole grains, rice, oats, those sort of things. They contain fiber, macronutrients, and generally digest slower and have a lower glycemic load. You get refined carbs such as sugar, white bread, processed snacks. They can cause very high insulin spikes, rapid glucose spikes, and then energy crashes thereafter. So what is glycemic control? What matters is not just how much you eat, but how your body responds. The two key concepts in that regard are glycemic index, which is how quickly glucose rises. So for example, rice has a higher glycemic index than oats, for example. And then you get glycemic load, which is the total impact on your body systems. Now, a lower glycemic index or lower load, better control, usually means more stable energy, overall improved metabolic health, and reduced risk of disease. So how much? Unlike protein, there's no guideline for how many grams per kilogram of carbohydrates you should get. How much you require depends on your activity level, your metabolism, and your goals. Generally, the more sedentary you are, the fewer carbohydrates it is recommended you to take in. The more active you are, the more you can benefit from the glucose. So how does this work in a clinical perspective? Excess refined carbohydrates are very strongly linked to type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and obesity. And those obviously all come with their own issues. But removing carbohydrates is not always optimal. So our goal is not elimination. Not keto, not low carb, not the notes. The goal is control and quality. So carbohydrates are not inherently good or bad. There are tools. If used correctly, they fuel performance, and if used poorly, they drive performance. Thank you for listening. We will see you in the next one for fats and hormones.